Hey everybody, welcome. Hope you're having a great day. It's Adina here from the Immigrant Finance Podcast, and I am with our guest today, Sergio Torres, who's the co-founder and CEO at Alvva. Welcome, Sergio. How are you doing?
Hi, Dina. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well. I'd say 80% there.
Yeah, I know we were just chatting about young child colds and all of that. So thank you for being here while you're a little under the weather. Appreciate it. And let's just get started. Do you want to tell people a little bit about who you are, what you do, why you do it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm Sergio, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Alvva, and we're a fintech company that our goal is to help people pay for immigration expenses. And I grew up in Mexico. I was fortunate enough to be born in the United States, so I'm a citizen. But really, I grew up in Mexico, and my heritage is Mexican. I grew up right on the border, which was an interesting dynamic where, I grew up on a hill in Mexico, and I see downtown San Diego from my parents' home. Um, and the border community, if you're not from a border, it's pretty interesting because it's one great metroplex. That's how we see it, one great community. And people see it, well, that's the US and that's Mexico, and it's very different. But it's all interconnected. So I grew up in Tijuana, and then studied there. Actually, did high school in San Diego, so I would cross the border every day. 44
Wow.
minutes to get the high school. But then I decided to go to college in Mexico.
Hmm.
And once I was done, I thought that well, I majored in trade and agribusiness. So I thought I wanted to
Hmm.
work in like agriculture and in international trade. But that didn't work out. I didn't really enjoy it that much. So being a Hispanic and bilingual, uh, that gave me an opportunity. I know that the Hispanic community in the United States is huge. I think there's about more than 60 million Hispanics in the United States. So there's a lot of companies that serve that community. So started working for an auto insurance company that sold to the Hispanic community, and was able to work there for about 5 years, helping them
Hmm.
grow. Which it was an interesting experience, and I got to move around in different places in California. But I realized that auto insurance is you need to have it, you need to be protected. But there's like hundreds of options for you if you want to get auto insurance.
Yeah.
Um, it's a little bit more complicated than that because there's like non-standard insurance. But yeah, so I thought that there was a big opportunity with credit, and in
Hmm.
researching, I found that there was this company called Progreso Financiero at the time, which is offering credit building loans to folks in the Hispanic community. And once I saw like their website, I was immediately connected to their mission.
Hmm.
Uh, Thankfully, I sent them an email and my resume, and they called me, and I was able
Wow.
to get a job there. It also helped them expand it was based out of the Bay Area, so I moved to the Bay Area, and helped them expand to new markets in California, but also in Texas and Illinois,
Wow.
Chicago and Nevada, to Vegas. So that was super interesting. And then I moved to another company called Dora, just basically the same product, a credit building loan, but it was offered through partners that we had. So a lot of
Hmm.
people who are immigrants, they use money transfer company to send money to their family members. They're still supporting someone back home, or in some way. Maybe it's like their main source of income to
Yeah.
someone who's back in their country of origin. So it made sense for us to offer our product through them. And there, I was leading our partnerships team, and then decided to start Alvva.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Before we get into Alva, I'm just like so happy we're doing this to hear your whole background again because I know I heard it when we first connected, but it's been a while. I'm trying to remember how we first connected. Was it like through FinCon or something?
I don't know. I think it's something around like LinkedIn or your Instagram because I think the work that you do is
Yeah.
amazing and yeah, I don't know. I think that
Thank
was
you.
somebody else. But anyways,
Yeah.
like we connected and yeah, I love what you're doing and there's such a big need for the support that you give to people. But obviously it's like we both have very similar goals and a very similar mission, so it's like it was bound for us to connect at some
Yeah.
point.
I
We're
know.
gonna
Then
see
there's
each
not
other.
many people in this space who are trying to empower immigrants and people in the Latino community through finance. So it was very exciting when we first connected. We have really different backgrounds. Like mine's in law, yours is in all this amazing business stuff, credit building stuff you've been doing. But yeah, I think there's a lot of alignment in trying to provide the tools for people to have more options in the immigrant community. So, yeah, tell us a little bit now more about Alvva and how those experiences led you to starting Alvva.
Yeah. So, we started Alva last year. So the last company that I was at, unfortunately, had to shut its doors. The
Mhm.
pandemic did
Yeah.
not help much.
Yeah.
It was actually bad for our business. But suddenly one day I didn't have a job,
Mhm.
and I was committed to trying to make that company succeed, but unfortunately, it just like didn't work out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I could have tried to look for another job, as sort of like the ship was sinking. But I'm like, let's try to right the ship, and if it doesn't work out, then I'll figure it out. But really, like within a week or two, started to thinking about like what I wanted to do, and I know that I wanted to start a business, but
Mhm.
I didn't have the idea. So, I started thinking about like what that could be.
Mhm.
And I remember that when I was at this company, we actually got approached by a few immigration attorneys. And, we had calls with them and they were telling us that a lot of people had consultations with them and they were eligible to get lawful status or to get uh, residence for a family member or DACA citizen. There's so many,
Yeah.
but it's not expensive to file an immigration application. You need to pay the government the filing fees, and most of them don't have a fee waiver. Some of
Wow.
them do, but then if you're getting legal assistance, well, most places, even nonprofits, charge a fee. So we're talking about thousands of dollars. So
Yeah.
most people, that need these services, like don't have money saved or don't have access to credit. So they said, "Hey, why don't you guys step in, give them the money that they need? They could use our services, file an application, which is like an investment for them,
Uh-huh.
and then the three of us win, right? You have a customer, we're able to help someone, and then that immigrant, they're able to get status, right?"
Yeah.
Um, but ultimately we didn't do anything. Our priorities were elsewhere.
Uh-huh.
But I just remembered that, and I decided I'm going to reach out to this immigration attorney and say, hey, I think that the experience that I have, I can build something like what you guys need and what your customers need. So I started talking to them
Yeah.
and started researching. I called 50 immigration attorneys across different markets, as a customer, and saying, hey, I have a fiance and like to get a green card for her, but I just don't have money saved up. Like, do you have any flexibility? Do you work with a company that offers financing? And I think 49 out of 50 had absolutely no option for
Wow.
me.
Wow.
I talked to an immigration attorney in Houston who said, yeah, we can give you flexibility for your payments, and that includes like the government fees. So I thought that was amazing. I can't
Yeah.
remember this firm's name, but obviously, you know, they're taking a huge risk.
Yeah.
Not in terms of that people won't pay them back, but that I see it's a huge operation to do that. Like
Yeah.
ultimately, immigration attorneys they want to file applications and put their customers in a situation to succeed and review those applications, not be billers and collectors and
Right.
establishing payment. But I was surprised by that. So that's how I started Alvva. Like after doing that research, I decided to start this company, and with the mission of giving people the capital that they needed to file for these applications, and then also allowing them to build credit as they pay us back, which is really important. Like building credit
Yeah.
is super hard in the United States.
Especially for people who don't have status.
Exactly, especially for someone who's a
Yeah.
newcomer, because I
Yeah.
went through that issue, and maybe a lot of the people that you work with run into that issue as well.
Absolutely. My husband went through it too. He came here with no credit. So we went through it together, and I've seen with so many of our students how difficult it can be, how they've been told it's not possible for them, very
Yeah.
limited options. So it's really exciting that not only are you helping people with being able to apply for status if they qualify, but also build the credit in the meantime in one of the few ways. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about building credit for people who are kind of new to
Mhm.
this. Why do you think it's important? What would you tell people in the immigrant community about building credit?
Yeah. So, building credit is especially if you come from elsewhere, if you come from Latin America, maybe some other countries, like
Mhm.
building credit is something that is a new concept. Like in other countries, like actually having access to credit is not maybe seen as like a positive thing. It's like,
Mm,
oh, I wasn't able to manage my finances, so then
mhm.
I had to recur to credit, right? It's
Yeah,
seen like it's seen as in the lenses of like I owe somebody money,
yeah,
right? And they see it as negative. So when people come into the US and you talk to them about building credit, they're like, "Nah, I don't want any debts, right?" And what's hard to understand, and this is why it's like so important to educate people, is that in the United States, having access to credit and having a credit score is actually a huge positive that's going to help you. It's going to make your life easier, and it's going to
yeah,
save you thousands of dollars. So
right.
make your life easier. Like if you're applying to rent an apartment, they're going to check your credit score.
Yeah,
If you don't have any credit, then you're going to be lucky if they rent that apartment to you and not to somebody else. And if they do, then they're going to ask you for first and last month's rent and maybe like a higher security deposit. So that like makes your life harder.
yeah,
If you do have a credit score, well, like I say, well, maybe a lower. I'm not going to ask for 2 months, rent deposit and so on and so forth. And then in terms of saving you thousands of dollars. Like if you're buying a vehicle, which a lot of people need,
yeah, to get to
and
work.
if nobody has like $10,000, $20,000 just
Right,
like in their checking account say I'm going to buy this,
right.
you're going to finance that car or that purchase, and the difference between 5% or 10% or you're talking about thousands of dollars
For the interest
um,
rate.
for the interest that you're
Yeah,
paying over the life of that loan. So it's really beneficial for people to build credit.
absolutely.
But the thing is, like, to get access to credit, you need credit. But then, like, how do you start building credit, right? Which is like the hardest thing. And it's like hard for people that live in the US. There's some challenges in like student loans. You can start building credit and be getting on your parents' accounts and stuff like that. But someone who's a newcomer, like, oh my God, like, how do I start? So there's stuff like prepaid credit cards. There's some nonprofits. There's also some
Mhm.
companies that offer credit building loans,
Right.
personal loans that you can get, but they're not in like every state. So it's hard. It's hard to get
Yeah,
access and to find these options. They're not like ready. It's not like you get to the US and you get like, hi, welcome. You want to build credit? These are your,
yeah,
it's not, it's not like a concierge service. Like you really need to find an option for you.
Yeah, and no one is gonna like sit down and explain to you why it's important. And I agree with everything you said. I would just add too, like it goes on. It's important too for your journey to build wealth, because if you want to invest in things later that are going to help you make more money, such as property, right?
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
going to need a credit score for that as well. So it's not just to be able to go into debt, right? Or
Mhm.
borrow if you need, but it's also to put yourself in a position where you can build assets, build wealth for the future.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're saving on it, say like, your monthly payment for a car without credit is $300, and then
Mhm.
you've got good credit and it's $225, right? So like something like $75 a month. Instead of having that go to interest, it could go through savings account, or
Yeah,
any savings vehicle that you could have. So instead of that going to to a big bank,
yeah,
it's work that money's working for you.
yeah. Especially if you invest it in the stock market. Like, and that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
great way, for people to be able to find money they may not have to be investing. Is by working on improving your credit score so that you can get those lower payments for things like you said with the car. So thank you for sharing all that. I think it's really helpful for people to get a better sense of why credit's important. And then let's talk about more of the immigration fees. I'll give like just a quick something to tee us up from the immigration lawyer side. So many of you know, I still practice as an immigration lawyer at a nonprofit. So we do not charge fees in that. So when I was speaking with Sergio, I was like, I actually don't really know what immigration lawyers charge. I mean, I hear right from our clients, a lot of people, have bad experiences with that, but that's a whole nother story. But the thing is, it is expensive to get a good immigration lawyer because there is no right to government appointed counsel in immigration court or for these applications for immigration benefits. So you may have heard of like public defender in the criminal system. There is no public defender in the immigration system. So unless you can find a nonprofit to represent you, which is very rare because there's so many people who need help and so little resources, or if you can pay for it yourself, you are going to have to represent yourself alone in immigration court against a government attorney. And there are many studies showing that people can be 3 to 10 times more likely to win their case in immigration court if they have a lawyer. So there's such an important role that finances play into this. This was actually one of the reasons I first got really interested in this area of immigrant finance. So what you're doing is so important to make it possible for some people to get an immigration lawyer to pay for it if they may not have the money in cash right now. So tell us a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah, definitely. And immigration is super complex, and
Yeah,
there's so many different types of applications. Someone could just be renewing a green card. Someone
yeah,
could be applying for citizenship, which is a last step. But then someone could be sort of like trying to stop a deportation, or trying to get asylum, or there's like UVs. It's like so complex, right? So my background is not in immigration and finance, so I'm learning as I go. Ultimately, like for example, what you just said, if someone doesn't have the money to get legal assistance, and because of that, that means that they're probably were less likely to win that case, then there's something wrong there, right? I
yeah,
think that we can step in and do something. That's just a comment based on what you said. But currently, what we're doing is we're starting with family-based immigration applications.
yeah,
So when someone's trying to get permanent residence or green card for a family member, like a spouse or a parent or one of their kids,
yeah.
we can help them finance the government fees portion of that expense. And we're starting off with that. So those were some of the examples, like removing conditions on residence, renewing a green card, but then
Yeah.
also DACA status, unfortunately new DACA applications are not being processed, but renewals are.
Right.
And then, like I said, citizenship. So these applications, they range anywhere from like $500 to $1,800.
Yeah.
So we do is they've someone needs the help, and they also want to build credit, though they want to build credit, and then they're applying for application. We partner with immigration organizations, and then they refer customers to us. We're also available online, Alvva, alvva.co. So someone can go in there and apply for a loan if they're residents of California. Eventually, we want to be in all 50 states, but you got to start somewhere, and this is our home. It's a very simple application. You don't need credit to be eligible for our loans. Our product is available in Spanish and English. We ask a few questions about their personal information, income, and expenses, and then we're able to tell them if they're pre-approved for a loan. And then if they are, we'll just need documentation before we can disperse the loan. So just like making sure that obviously to protect their identity, that they're the person who they say they are, and make sure that they can prove their income. So we want to be a responsible lender. We don't want to lend to just anyone because we don't want to put them in a worse situation if
Yeah.
they're in a bad situation. So making sure that they can afford the payments. But once they do, currently what we're doing, once they sign the loan agreement, and we're really transparent. Like, we want to educate them about like what the payments are going to be, the payment state, how much this is going to cost them, what's going to be the finance charge, how to understand how the interest
Yeah.
is calculated, etc. So because this might be the first time that someone has access to credit in the US, so we want to take that opportunity to really educate them. But once they sign,
Amazing.
um, we send them a electronic check already made out to Department of Homeland Security. They could just forward on to, if they're working with someone who's giving them assistance, just like put it on top of the application and mail it. They're doing it themselves, they could do the same thing. And we also give them the ability to opt in to credit education, materials that we put together for them. If they want to
Wow.
understand more about how to get access to credit, what's important in credit score, what are the main factors, and
Nice.
then how to dispute, like if there's something bad in their credit report,
Oh, that's great.
or like some people get, unfortunately, there's some bad actors out there, and there's identity theft, and
Yeah.
so how do you talk to the credit bureau? So that's what the process looks like, and eventually, hopefully by the end of the year, we can create something where we recognize that a lot of people need to pay immigration organizations a fee. So coupling both components together, that way they don't have to worry about like, all right, I gotta send this to the government, I gotta like send this to
Oh,
the
okay.
attorney. Just, all right, how much do you need for both? And
Yeah.
then just a single payment, and then we'll take care of those payments for
Okay.
them.
Oh, that's amazing. So you're going to cover the attorney fee too, or the legal services fee.
Yeah, that's part of the plan, because actually that ends up being a higher proportion in
Yes.
most cases. Yeah.
Yes.
Typically what we've seen, like a rule of thumb, like a third of the cost is for the immigration, for the government,
Yeah.
and about two-thirds are for the attorney. Now that's not always the case, because there's like nonprofits out there that
Yeah.
sometimes might do it for free, sometimes for like very for a lower cost than immigration attorney. But that's
Hmm.
why I was saying that it's so diverse, and there's so many types of application forms in immigration, that you also have to understand that for something very straightforward, maybe someone might do them themselves, but something more complicated, whether it's like issues, an immigration attorney might be your
Yeah.
best resource. So people understand that, and we don't, it's up to them who they want to work with. But tell us how we can help you pay for it.
That's so incredible. I mean, there's so many people out there who are eligible for relief, and simply can't get it because of the fees. So I'm really excited about what you all are doing. I have personally represented several clients in removal proceedings in
Yeah.
immigration court who could have naturalized earlier and never faced that situation, but they couldn't afford the fee.
And that's amazing. And I don't know if you're familiar with Unidos US,
Yeah,
but yeah, they see the data is clear, right? Like currently there's about like 9 million green card holders that are eligible for citizenship. And despite all the benefits, right? Like once you're a citizen, you can't get deported. You're
yeah,
done with the immigration system.
yeah,
If your child is born somewhere else, they still have rights to be a citizen in the U.S. Only 8% of those 9 million file a citizenship form.
really, yeah,
Yeah, so it's like I can't remember the number, but less than
yeah,
10%. So this organization said like, come on, and then there's a lot of initiatives of like, I can't remember the name. I think citizen like something for new Americans. Like, let's try to get 2 million like in the next 2 years to
yeah,
apply, etc. So
yeah.
Unidos, they did a survey. Like, let's talk to the community and see what's going on.
What's going on? Yeah,
And 51% of them said that they didn't apply because the main reason why was
the
because they can't
fees.
afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 51%. And
Wow.
then within
That's a
that same
lot.
survey, 47% said that they don't have access to traditional forms of credit.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah, so it's not the only reason. Obviously, the exam, like in my experience, I've talked to a lot of people to say, oh, I'm waiting till I'm 50 because then I can take it in Spanish.
Yeah.
Or I'm waiting till I'm 65 because then I'll take, and they keep on renewing. But you might, I don't know, you might do something, and you can get deported. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's terrible. Like I heard someone who got a DUI and ended up getting deported. He could have applied for citizenship.
I'm so passionate about this because that was literally the types of cases I did for several years, which was representing green card holders facing deportation because of minor criminal convictions, which a
Yeah,
lot of people don't know. You can get deported if you're a green card holder due to
yeah,
conviction. And so that's another reason this is so, so important. Another thing we haven't talked about yet is the ability to vote,
yeah, yeah.
right?
You
Like
can
that's
vote as a
critical.
citizen. You can vote in federal elections. So you might be more knowledgeable than me, but I think local elections you can still vote. I don't know, but obviously, you have a voice once you're a citizen.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean, there's so many benefits. There's so many benefits to this. There's the great thing about like being immigration is that there's a lot of people that are passionate about this, and there's a lot of research.
Yeah.
There's a lot of data
Mhm.
behind this. So if you don't have lawful status and you get lawful status, your income increases by 35 to 40%. So this is an investment, right? Just think about like in a financial sense. And this is,
Mhm.
I took it from the White House website, 35 to
Wow.
40%. And then there's a study that was done by USC in Southern California, and they wanted to quantify the benefits of getting citizenship. And once you remove all once you take into account all the other factors, your spending power increases by 13% over the people that don't file. And
Wow.
then within the Hispanic community, then that number is actually 20%. And I think a big reason is that a lot of people, obviously, like if you don't have lawful status, there's very limited work that you can do. Um, but then even if you're a permanent resident, you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I want to like change jobs, right? I'm like, all right, this is something that this is a job that I can do, blah, blah, blah. And then once you get citizenship, I think a lot of people, you just think of their employment, like they think they have the freedom now to do whatever job they best fit, to do.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. So with like employment mobility, So the benefits are clear, right? It just,
Wow.
you know, a matter of educating folks and yeah, a matter of educating folks. And then hopefully, you know, if people start doing that, they're like, all right, you got more money to invest.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's making me think too, like I want to definitely acknowledge the many people in our community who aren't eligible for any immigration benefits and like wouldn't have something to finance, and how frustrating that is and awful. And just want to say, like, sometimes there can be something you qualify for that you might not know about. Sometimes it's worth doing a consultation with an
Mhm.
immigration attorney, even if you've been told there's nothing, or like getting a second opinion, just to make sure, right? Because there could be something there. Oftentimes there's not, because of how harsh the immigration system is. But it's good to know about resources like this because things change, right? There's been many people I've worked with who have not been eligible for any immigration status, and then they marry a US citizen later, right? Or their child who's a US citizen turns 21. Like, things can
Mhm.
change. So it's just good to educate yourself about resources like this, even if it's just for the future or like for other loved ones you may be able to empower with information.
Yeah, definitely. And I also heard stories of people that, like one of our customers who, you know, overstayed his visa, has been in the country for 30 years. And at some point he talked to an immigration attorney and said, you know, fortunately, there's nothing that could be done. But then, you know, I don't know if like the laws change or, you know, the requirements change, but
All the
recently he
time.
talked to somebody else and they're like, yeah, you're eligible.
Yeah.
Um,
The
for
laws changed
different
a lot.
reasons, right? I won't get to specifics, but
Yeah.
he was like, you know, I don't know, maybe I should talk to someone. Or you should be like, you know, talking to someone every year, right? Because um, even months could have like a huge effect or
Yeah,
impact on your life, right? A lot of people wait, just wait. So
definitely. Yeah, it's an investment in yourself just to see your options, right? And is that something you all would be able to finance, like if someone couldn't afford the fee for a consultation?
So for a consultation, no. You know,
Okay.
typically, from what we've seen, it's like $75 to $100.
Okay.
Um, but we do see that there's a barrier. There's a barrier to financial assistance, um, and folks need a place to start. And there isn't that place to start. You know, obviously, community organizations do an amazing job, and they're out there in the community. A
Yeah.
lot of people come to them, and you know, I think that without them, it'd be they do a lot of amazing work.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a huge opportunity to have sort of a way for everyone to get access to something, right? So we don't do that, but we're listening to our customers and to people in the community, and we see that as an opportunity. So I don't know how we can like step in and help.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be to finance that, but maybe talking to immigration attorneys and do like a reduced fee, or like maybe we have like a membership where they just like pay us, I don't know, X amount per month, and then we give them access for free, and then we go ahead and pay like, I don't know, we'll see,
Yeah.
but we definitely see that as an opportunity and
That's
interested in
exciting.
thinking what people in the community and within immigration think.
Yeah.
Um, but
Absolutely. And
yeah.
in the meantime, I'll link below like some resources where you can find out about nonprofits in your area. There are lots and lots of nonprofits that provide legal clinics and intakes. It is more
Yeah.
difficult in remote areas, so it's usually more centered around the cities. But I'll just note that. But yeah, I'll link that below.
Yeah, and I definitely noticed that, and I was just
Yeah.
talking to our team today that we feel like San Francisco has tons of resources,
Yes.
and I feel like DC has a lot of resources.
Yeah.
When you start getting to other places, like there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's a large city in California that has um, I think 500,000 people living there, and most of them are Hispanic. And they have one. I looked at Isla. How many immigration attorneys are there? One,
Oh
one
my
Isla attorney, in this area in the Central Valley in California, Bakersfield.
Wow.
And I was in agricultural, community.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely bigger need in like rural and smaller communities than like in the bigger cities. We've definitely seen that.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, there's a big issue in general with access to counsel in the immigration world. Definitely something I'm working on in my day job. There's been a lot of movement in that. Yeah, but it's a big issue, as many of you know. This has been so helpful, and I'm really excited to learn more about what y'all are doing. I know you launched recently, so
yeah.
congratulations on the launch. Is there anything else you want to share with people on these topics?
I mean, we've got our website. I think that I've shared alvva.co. People can find out a little bit more about what we do. But we really want to have a big impact on this space. But we got to start somewhere, and we're starting in California with a couple of partnerships. But we're new to immigration, like, and yeah, we want to talk to organizations and people who have done this for a while and see how we can do this better, how we can help, how we can collaborate, how we can make people's jobs easier. So not only like the immigrants themselves, but people that serve them. We've got 20 years experience in financial services and technology, and how can we leverage that is something that remains to be seen, other than doing it alone. So yeah, I would recommend people to reach out. And my email is sergio@alvva.co. So anyone listening, just feel free to shoot me an email or find me on LinkedIn and whatnot. So yeah, excited and to be at least try to be a part of the solution for a lot of people, and to help. Like, I think that this the people that help immigrants is definitely a community, and we think that the closer and tighter that we are, I think the bigger impact that we can have. So
Yeah,
so
love
yeah,
that.
that's our approach. So yeah, feel free to reach out. And like, I've talked to, because of you, Adina, like stuff, people like CM from Algorithm, and
Yeah.
yeah, just trying to make help immigrants succeed. And there's a lot of organizations like that. So I think everyone has the same approach and thinking. So yeah, looking forward to connecting with more people, and then yeah, hopefully maybe one day in person. There's like a
I
forum where we
know.
can all meet. That would be great.
I
Hopefully
know, I would
soon.
love to. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all this and your time, and really for your leadership on this issue. And this is something that was a big problem and no one was doing anything about. So I really admire your courage, and yeah, thank you for having that vision.
No, thank you, Adina. No, thank you. Yeah, and thank you to you as well. I
Yeah,
think you did great work, and yeah, excited about what the future holds for immigrant finance.
thank you. Have a great rest of the day.
You too.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.